Welcome to the All Outdoors Photography Podcast with your hosts Henry Doyle and Ryan Taylor, where we discuss all things related to outdoor and nature photography. In today's episode, Henry and Ryan talk about their photographer inspirations and otherwise, and Ryan divulges a bit into his photo book collection. As always, be sure to check out our show notes for further content and to follow us on Instagram at All Outdoors Photography Podcast. So now it is time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, welcome back to episode 24 of the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. And today we're talking about something that helps us every day with our photography.
Yes, we are talking about inspirations, everything from photography to artists in general. And in my case, I'm going to be talking about a little bit about photo books as well.
Mhm. Yes, Ryan is literate. I am illiterate, so that's what we will be talking
No, they're like adult children's books because they're just filled with like pretty pictures and some words here and there.
about.
So
Yes.
it's really no different, I think.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. So, Ryan, what's your first inspiration?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, let me just put a little caveat is that this isn't like an exhaustive list of like all my photo books or all my inspirations. It's just, I just kind of handpicked a few from my collection and just, names that, I really recognize and identify with. As always, I'm discovering new photographers in the work. So, but yeah, I got a couple here. I got about a dozen photo books and a few other names I'll rattle off throughout this episode. But the first one I'm going to talk about, actually, the first couple are actually on YouTube, and they're most popularly known from YouTube as well. So this first one's actually Sean Tucker. This is going to be the one non-nature related one because he mainly does street photography, both with like very striking colors and black and white, and he does lots of like hard light, which is like really high contrast looks to his photographs. But once a year, he posts or he promotes basically these collections that are like taken from the year's worth of photos. And so this one's from 2019, collection 3 here, and it just has like it's a really small book, but it just has different street photographs of different people in everyday walks of life. He doesn't, sign model releases or anything special. He doesn't do anything like really out there with them, so to speak, with the subjects. But it's just like nice composition. He has really an interesting eye for just detail, I guess. It's just very fascinating to see how he works because there's very few photographers I could say that really work at his level like this. Just incorporating people in the landscape into light and detail. And it's just a really neat book. Has interspersed with quotes as well. And it's just, yeah, it's a pretty neat book. And he's a really talented both filmmaker and photographer in his own right.
How you're kind of adventuring outside of your normal genre. Street photography's fairly similar, but it's also very different because I mean you're capturing a different kind of mood and different kind of scene.
Yeah, it's neat, and I feel like it is important. Let me just preface this whole episode really is that inspiration can come from anywhere. I believe like it doesn't have to be related to my work subject matter wise. Like this book and Sean's work is very evocative to me. I don't know. I really identify with what he does, and I feel like it's just great to admire someone else's work, even if you don't exactly take the exact same images as well. So yeah, he's a great photographer, an
Yeah,
artist,
it
if you
seems
will.
cool. I'm gonna
Yeah,
check them
so
out.
yeah, I definitely check
Never
him
heard
out.
of them before.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
his YouTube videos are very like philosophical, and he really there's a lot of like talking about gear, I guess, but like it's really he does like a really interesting spin on it. So yeah, he's a really interesting person to follow.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So for my first one on my list, hear me out. This is gonna sound really, really basic, but it is Ansel Adams, and it's really just it's probably it comes from kind of a childhood like dreams, I guess. Like when I was young, I always wanted to go to Yosemite. I've never been, but I still want to go. But I would look at the Ansel Adams art from a young age. That's one of the few photo books I actually had. Um, I don't know where it went. It's been gone for a couple of years. I don't know why, but um, I would always look at that. And my family has a Ansel Adams like wall hanging with like 3 national parks in it. And his images aren't great, but at the time, they really pushed the limits of what you could do with that technology. And I really like his kind of use of highlight and shadow. I know he kind of invented this kind of new system of like realism in photography, like up to that point before, photographers weren't trying to like represent the scene. They were trying to put like a painterly look over everything. And Ansel was one of the first like realists. So I really just I'm inspired by his ingenuity, like by pushing the field of photography, and just his really knowledge, in-depth knowledge of locations. Like he really focused on a couple key spots and really mastered them. So
Yeah, I'd agree with you 100%, Henry. It's like Ansel was an interesting case. I mean, he was like the kind of, fourth, he has the forethought of really like photography in general, but especially landscapes in our case. But like he didn't, I don't believe he really traveled that far. Like he probably went around the world, but like his photographs, especially, are from like the American West, especially in the national parks. So it's really neat to just see how he got really, kind of hunkered down in those like locations, like you said, Yosemite, and he just really took all these amazing photographs, and it was pretty much one of the first to do it as well. So yeah, he's really ahead of his time.
hmm yeah, and just kind of the dedication. Like he really just threw himself into
Oh
photography.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean, he made it his career. He spent days in the mountains waiting for just a certain cloud to move out of the way, or waiting for the light to hit this mountain in a certain way, and it paid off. Like I said, they're not great images by today's standards, but they still invoke a lot of feeling, and he's really one of the major photographers that really transcended the photography bubble. You know,
Hmm. I'm
he's
curious.
known by yeah, he's like known by most households, I would say.
Oh yeah, yeah. People think of
Yeah.
mountain tops, black and white photographs. They probably think of Ansel, but I just want to say I'm curious. But like, what makes you think his photographs don't stand up to like modern standards?
Um I just,
Is it like a technicality, or is it like because film
no,
versus digital, or is it composition or something
I'd say
else?
composition. I mean, they're
Really?
pretty when you come down to it, they're pretty basic compositions, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because the cool part about that is he really invented that style of composition. Like he was
Hmm.
the first guy to really do that kind of landscape. But I think nowadays there's a lot of that same kind of wide shooting. I don't even know if
Well,
he shot it wide, but like just the kind of not panorama, but just the standard vista view.
right. Well, he did take a variety. I have a couple photo books from him. I'm not going to talk about all of them tonight, but like he's more well known for those grand vistas, like you're saying. But he took quite a few like intimate detail shots. Like I don't know the name or date or where he took it of this one, but I know there's one that stands out in my mind of like a black and white fern, and it's literally just he pointing the camera straight down. Some ferns on the ground, and it's super simple composition, but like the details just like immaculate for what it is, and it's very like unlike a shot that most people would remember him for.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
And he also took
He's
shots of people too. Some of those
mhm.
cultures out there out west, he takes shots, just people portraits, basically, or like in their environments, in their buildings and houses. So he had quite a lot of variety, but he's definitely most well known, I think, for those Grand Vista shots. Which, I mean, can you blame him? Because they are pretty one of a kind when you consider
Oh,
the national parks nowadays.
yeah, I mean, no hate. I'm not trying to hate against his photographs. I think they're very good. I mean, better than anything I've ever taken. Like it's just I don't know. I maybe it's the way I'm attracted to like different photos, I guess. Like maybe that's not what particularly pulls me in. I just think it's really like the story behind the images that really inspires me.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
That makes sense. Yeah, and he definitely has. There's a couple photo books from him that I've seen where he does have these like really in depth stories that last like several pages, just talking about how he got these photographs and the adventure to like really get them. So it's been pretty neat to see that, especially from such an early, we'll call it era, I guess, in photography.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So what's your next one?
Well, since you're talking about Ansel, I'll just briefly touch upon one of the photo books. I think I have about 6 or 7, which sounds crazy, but he has plenty of books in his catalog, or he did throughout his life. And the one that probably stands out most to me is called Yosemite and the Range of Light. And this is pretty much as classic Ansel as you get because it's in Yosemite and it is like the big, wide, vista landscapes. But it's just a classic example of different shots he took. A lot of them were probably, I'm guessing, were commissioned for the National Park Service, because he was actually paid for, I think, a couple decades in his career just to take photographs at like Yosemite and other national parks. So it's a really neat photo book overall. It does have a lot of, it's all black and white, of course, because at the time color film didn't quite exist. Because I think these are, looks like they span from the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, which is probably like the peak of his work. Even though he still was photographing late into his life, until his death in, I believe, the 80s. But yeah, it just has lots of different shots of mountain vistas. There's some more intimate ones actually, like some. There's one called Rock and Foam that he took in 1960 at Yosemite, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we've already touched upon Yosemite, or I mean, excuse me, Ansel enough. But yeah, he's just a really. I hate to call it master photographer because that's such a loaded term, and I've seen people use that, throw that term around for themselves, but I don't know. He's probably the closest thing to it in my eyes, especially for landscapes. So.
I mean, yeah, I mean, especially like technically, I mean, he focuses spot on. He knows exposure. I
Mhm.
don't know if it
Oh yeah,
transferred over to color, obviously be different, but with black and white, he knows how to get the dynamic shadows and get the dynamic highlights, and just
like
he knows what he's doing.
yeah, he's like, and I'll say master just because, not because he's mastered photography, but he was so ahead of his time, like I said, and just like the dedication he put into every single shot. Like, you hear about the hours and hours he'd spend in the darkroom just developing these shots, and he was really after this pursuit, this mission to like get the perfect print, and he was so just like laser focused on getting that, and like how many photographers can really say that? I'm honestly nowhere near that level of perfection that he was at. So it really shows in his work, I think.
Yeah.
You know, but
There's like I'll hear like film photographers say that like post processing is like sacrilegious for photography, but people forget that Ansel, like you said, he was big into the darkroom. He would do like complicated like almost like exposure brackets, but not really, where he darkened part of the film and brighten
no,
others. He would do a lot of interesting techniques to.
are you talking about Dodge and Burn?
Yeah, dodging and burning. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
he was a pioneer at that technique. Way before digital, and it was just
mhm.
insane to see him like take, whatever that swab or brush and just clean the photo prints, and just make them how he, perceived them. Really, he was literally, he's an artist. He's really elevated, I think, beyond photographer. He really is artist. I really sound like a fanboy, don't I? Like, but I
A
can't. I
little bit.
can't help it. You know, it really. I sound like I'm just like gushing for this man I never met, but like he's just honestly like, it's kind of like you, Henry. It's like I, from a young age, when I identified with, before even photography really was on my map, it was like, everyone knew about Ansel, I think, or most people do, and like just seeing his photographs, whether I wanted to take it or not, my own photographs. It was just so cool to see it, so like wondrous, I guess. So yeah, he's
Yeah,
one of the greats for sure, without a doubt.
definitely.
Yeah, but I guess this episode is for gushing about our favorites. So maybe we do have to be like fanboys a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
So I guess, does that count as mine? I guess, or do you want to go next?
I mean, up to you if you want to keep
Okay.
talking. I mean, I'm.
Yeah, sure. So Thomas Heaton. So full stop. He's one of my favorites. I've been following his YouTube channel since about 2018, and I binge watched all of it. I think I've watched every video he's made, just because I really do identify with both his like video style, his sense of humor, his knack for technology, I guess, cameras. He's got a very good eye as a photographer as well. So, anyways, I got his one and only photo book, Landscape Photography on Location with Thomas Heaton, and so it's a great book. It's a great photo book. I really like how he, all the photographs are actually from his YouTube videos, because he goes out in the field, of course, for a lot of those videos, and he goes around the world, takes different landscapes shots, and a lot of these are actually, the neat thing is they all come from videos he's made throughout his, I think since 2014, he's been on YouTube, at least active on there. And the cool thing is they're all from videos he's made, but like the stories are very personal and intimate, and they're not like, a lot of them aren't even included into the video itself. So you're learning about these different stories you never even heard of from the videos. So, anyways, I just thought it was real neat. The photography is just incredible. Like honestly, like every shot's just something different. And because I like how he doesn't really narrow himself down to one style. Everything is just it looks like a Thomas Heaton photo, but it's like everything is so just the subject matter wise very wide range. So yeah, but it's just incredible. I think
Hmm.
incredible photographer.
He knows how to make a good photo on any lighting condition, really any environment. Like he can go out on the most dreary days and find a bush and make it seem like the most majestic bush on the planet or something.
Yeah, he makes it look easy for sure in the videos, I think, because he's just yeah, and I like how he doesn't sugarcoat. I know it's a big draw for a lot of his viewers, I think, but he doesn't sugarcoat like the realities of what we do, which you know, I can really appreciate because most people would be like, oh, I just went outside, took a shot, of a bush or something, and he'll be like, I had to go out in the pouring rain. It was just miserable and muggy, and my camera fell in the water, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. He tells it how it is. It's hard work. And actually, on the back of the book, I will say this: there's a shot of him in the snow, and he looks like he's having just like a blizzard, having a great time. It's kind of sarcastic, but he looks like he's like braving the elements. And it says adventure is relative only to the person having the experience. So pretty much tells much about his work and everything.
Yeah, mark my words. One day, I will, if I have the money, I will go on a Thomas Eaton photo trip. That's an absolute dream of mine. That'll be so
Yeah.
fun.
Well, I hope you do at least.
Yeah, I'd love to go to like Patagonia with him. That would insane.
Patagonia would be great.
Or even just like the English woodlands, like and anything. Honestly, like he's such a great photographer. I feel like I could learn a lot. I've been liking his film stuff recently a lot more, since I'm kind of experimenting with film myself.
Oh, really? Did he kind of inspire you to get into that?
Uh, no, not. I mean, a little bit, yeah. But I was gifted the camera, so I just kind of wanted to, try it out. So it's cool to see kind of the techniques he uses. So.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like coincidence almost.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah. It's like you're following along right alongside with him, which is cool.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So, what's your next choice?
All right. So this is one I've actually found pretty recently. It's Alistair Bean. I don't
Ben.
know.
It's Ben.
Ben. Okay,
Yeah.
Alistair Ben. Um, he is just a really thoughtful photographer. I love his photos. Um, I really love his YouTube channel, especially when he just basically takes an image. It does maybe a little bit of infield, like production, but then he goes into the studio and like really breaks down like the different levels of light on the image and how the image evokes emotion. And I don't know, like there's something about what he does that's just like really inspires me. And he does like the intimate landscape, but it's not like the cliche intimate landscape that everybody talks about. It's kind of just whatever he sees, he'll capture. And I don't know, it's just I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
A
um,
little bit. I've heard. I think he's a podcast, or at least he's been guests on ones I've listened to. But yeah, I'm pretty fairly familiar with him. Definitely.
mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So he's really like just focused on small scenes, um, usually like a telephoto kind of shot. And he has a intense knowledge. I mean, he's been doing this. I think he's said he's been a professional for like 30 years.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, it's crazy. And I just really love his YouTube channel. It's just so cool the way he does things. He, some of my favorite images are he really likes like going to waterfalls, but it's not for like what most landscape photographers will go to waterfalls for. He'll like get out like a 400 millimeter lens and like go in on like the little like rapids, get like interesting like abstracts of those rapids. It's just like the coolest things that he does with like long focal lengths and stuff. I don't know. He's just
Hmm.
awesome photographer.
Like he'll take like a typical subject and just do something, put a whole new spin on it, basically.
Hmm.
Because I mean, anyone can like photograph a waterfall, but like he might see something different in that subject, I guess, which is
Hmm.
pretty neat. Yeah. I think his tagline, isn't it like expressive photography?
Yes, expressive photography.
Yeah, which is pretty neat, expressive. So just makes you
Hmm.
wonder, what do you really want to express, I guess, in your image?
Very expressive indeed. Yes,
Yeah, he's pretty cool. We should have him on the show. Sorry, tangent.
I'd love to have him. That'd
That'd be
be awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ideas.
and I'm looking at his Instagram right now, and another thing I really like is like the softness of his images, and I'm not talking about like unsharp, but like just the kind of smooth like flow that all of his images have, with
Hmm.
like leading lines and like soft textures, and just a great photographer. Great
He
photographer.
might use the Orton effect. You ever heard of that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I feel like a lot of them, pros especially, do that. Seems like,
I've
yeah.
never had luck with it. Like I know how to use it, but it's just never. I don't know. Never works well for me.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, just don't crank it all the way up. But yeah, it's definitely
Uh,
doable, I would say.
yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's just not a look that I'm into, but
Okay. Yeah, because it's weird at first because I described it not personally, but like I think it was like a video, but it's just like what is the Orton effect, and it's like it simultaneously sharpens and softens the image, and I'm like, how? Like, what does that mean?
yeah, it basically like bleeds the highlights into the shadows a little bit. It's kind of complicated, but it's super cool.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's a technique. I don't use it much, but yeah, it's definitely an idea, I guess,
Hmm.
for
For
landscape
sure.
shots. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What is your next one?
So I'm going to steal the thunder from you a little bit. Adam Gibbs, because I know you wanted to do this, pick him. But
No problem.
his, yeah, we can still talk about him after I'm done rambling on here. But he had a book recently called Quiet Light come out, and this one is just, oh, it's absolutely incredible. I'm a fairly new follower of his work, probably less than a year now, but he's just on another level. I think his as the name suggests of the book, it's called Quiet Light, and it's basically like it's almost like his trademark. I don't know what you call it, like style, I guess, photographic style, because he goes after and he explains in like not so much this forward here, but he does have like a kind of a longer intro in the photo book talking about just how quiet light to him is like very intimate scenes, very it's not hard directional light. Literally, it's not hard directional light, but it's like quiet light. Like it's very soft, it's very subdued, but there's still a lot of expression, I guess, in the scene. And
Hmm.
his landscape shots are just on another level, I think. And much like Alistair, he's been doing it pretty much his whole life. Like I'm pretty sure the upwards of like 30 years
Yeah.
now.
Didn't he like start as like a garden photographer, like for
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
magazine or something?
Yeah, I think he actually talks about that in the intro because I never heard that before. Like I've been following his YouTube channel for a little while, like about a year, as I said. But like, yeah, he explains it more about his start, I guess, and the beginning of this book. So it was pretty neat to hear that storyline and just flip through all these images. Most of them are from British Columbia because he's from Canada. But yeah, just lots of mossy covered tree trunks. He's got like these creeks and waterfalls, just intensely cool stuff. I'm just as I'm flipping through it, if you can't tell, as I'm like talking about it, but it's just so many grand landscapes, so many different, just quieter, more intimate scenes. But it's all very expressive, and I like how it's everything in this photo book. However many images there are, they're all from his area, which I can really appreciate. As much as it would be nice to travel the world right now, you can't really do that, quite successfully. But all of his shots, like I said, are from Canada. So, he's
Yeah,
just incredible.
yeah. His I don't know, like his compositions. I think are like what really set him apart. Like the amount of thought that goes into like every little detail of the scene is just crazy for him. Like if you
Mhm.
watch like one of his in the field videos, it's crazy. Like he'll constantly be moving his tripod around looking for the best angle, like down to like the
Yeah.
tiniest branches. Like it's crazy.
I mean, yeah, he really gets into it, which is another thing I can appreciate because a lot of photographers, I think, especially when they're hunkered down with a tripod, they just get standing normal height, level, or they don't really kneel down or get down low on their knees or just really experiment with angles. And you can tell, yeah, like in his videos, like you said, is he just really gets into it, which is just awesome, and it really shows in the
Yeah, like
photographs.
even a recent example is I don't know if you watch these videos, but he went to Alberta, and there were these like group of white, I think they were birch trees submerged in water, and he got like a full body
Yeah,
wetsuit and like spent hours on end in this cold water photographing just to get a better angle. I mean, he could have shot from the shore, but he knows where he can get the best shots, and he'll do whatever it takes to get those shots. So
I like that. He's hungry. He'll do
yeah,
whatever it takes. So yeah, yeah, he's
yeah.
great. I've seen those shots. They're really really good.
hmm And another thing about like that series which really impressed me was he was in beautiful like Alberta, Canada. I've been there before I was a photographer, but I've been there. It's beautiful. There's huge mountains, but he decided to spend like 5 days on these like birch trees and refine that area. And I can really respect that. It takes a lot of discipline, for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
Mm,
the way that he just like works with what he has in front of him. You know, he's not in any hurry. He's just letting the scene unfold before his eyes in camera.
mm,
Yeah,
yep.
it's really cool.
He's cool gear too. So that's
I wasn't paying attention to that part. What does he use?
he uses a medium format camera. It's
Oh, oh,
digital, but like huge sensor. I think it's a Fuji like 50 megapixel one.
oh,
Super
wow.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. That's news to me. I guess I don't pay much attention. I'm just looking at the scenes or, you know, what he's surrounded by out in the
hmm
field. You know,
Yeah.
really pay attention to the camera. It's great. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah, he's great though. He's great. He's one
Yeah.
of my favorites now. So this book, like, I mean, I was already really a big fan, but like seeing his, you know, his work in like print, you know, in a book, just really sealed the deal for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool. So, I guess what would be your next choice?
All right. So mine is Clyde Butcher. Now I don't know. I've mentioned him a couple times on the show before. I don't know how well known he is. I don't think he's. I mean, he's pretty popular, but I don't think he's like household name. But he focuses on the Florida Everglades. Excuse me, I'm gonna cut that. He focuses on the Florida Everglades, which is basically, I think it's the largest swamp in the United States. Just a really diverse area. From an outsider's perspective, talk like landscape wise, you know you may not think there's like a lot of opportunities just because of like the hard terrain, and like the dense forest. But Clyde has basically dedicated like most of his life to like exploring the Everglades and like getting these amazing shots. He's exclusively black and white on film. I think he's using a like similar camera to like what Ansel Adams used, which is crazy. I think only recently he switched to digital, just because of his old age. Like he had a stroke or something, so he couldn't handle the film. But up until a couple years ago, he was using this incredibly challenging camera, all black and white. And it's just crazy. Like he used to, he can't anymore, but he used to like go on these like week long expeditions, like in this like swampy alligator filled water, and just get amazing shots. It's very inspirational.
Yeah, I believe you talked about him. I don't remember which episode, but yeah, I looked up his work after that episode recording. And I was like, this guy is incredible. Like,
hmm
I'm looking at a picture of him with his camera now. He's surrounded by a beautiful landscape, but the camera is just like it looks like a briefcase style kind of design, and it's like it's like the photo I'm looking at has like a side profile view of him, like looking through the viewfinder, and it's like the camera is just like it's bigger than his head, like it's just massive. Um,
hmm
but yeah, his photography, man, it's just and once again, I can appreciate someone that stays local and really gets to know the you know the surrounding area they live in, like you said, the Everglades. So yeah,
hmm
he's just incredible. Just this work he's done. So
And he is one of the main voices in that area for conservation too. And he's a pretty wealthy photographer. He sells a decent amount of prints, so he puts a lot of money into conservation and puts his voice into it as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah, and it really
yeah.
shows in his work. You know, his
Mhm.
passion, his dedication to preserve it. You know, you can just kind of tell when a photographer really cares. I think about
Mhm.
like what they're photographing.
Yeah, and you really get like a sense of adventure too from
Oh,
him. Like
definitely.
I'm sure he inspires many to get out there in Florida and kind of explore their regions that you may not think could be fun. But he's
Yeah, but
Everglades is usually just seen as a annoying swamp that gets in the way of things, but
oh
people
yeah,
can change their minds on that.
I bet a lot of people think like, oh, we could just build like a shopping mall or some, urban
Yep,
development.
or build Disney World or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drain the swamp. Yeah, I mean, wetlands are so important. That's like one of the most, in my opinion, it's one of the most important habitats we should be conserving. So,
Yep,
the fact that he's really
for sure.
raising awareness to this, beautiful location. I've never been there, but it's definitely on my bucket list someday. It's
Mhm,
just really impressive.
mhm.
But
And I know he's not a wildlife photographer, but if you ever do go there, the birds there are
yes,
insane. Like
so I've
all
heard.
kinds of things.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the herons and everything. You can get up real close to them, which is so
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's cool. Yeah.
And alligators too. I mean,
Jeez.
it's a good photo right there.
Wonder how many he brushes up with against out there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it makes you
Who
wonder.
knows? Yeah.
It's cool though. Yeah, I don't know. Just looking at his images makes me want to go out to like my local, swamps and wetlands and throw my chest waders and just have a hoot. You know,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's
You,
it.
you don't have to worry about alligators, so there's an advantage for you,
Yeah,
I'd say. Uh-huh.
there's not. If in my opinion, people are the most scary thing in Ohio. there's like
Uh-huh.
there's not much mosquitoes, I guess, but other than that,
Water snakes, maybe. I don't know.
no, most of those are harmless actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I had an experience with one, and yeah, they don't bite, so
that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's Clyde Butcher. He's definitely one of my favorites. So
yeah. You reminded me to look more at his work. Yeah,
mhm.
he's very good. So my next one is I'm going to steal yours, Henry, again, but it's Ben Horn. Uh, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, but his newest book, it's called Between the Wind, and it's a very beautiful like brush cover design. I don't know, beside the point, but his photography of all different kinds of like national parks that he goes to out west, several times throughout the year, he takes these week long photo trips, and yeah, he goes. I mean, he goes to Zion, he goes to Death Valley, just I think the redwoods. He just goes a little bit everywhere out there out west, and I believe he's out in California is where he lives. But yeah, his shots are just like the other guys I mentioned, aforementioned, landscape photographers. His are just like incredible. I don't know, to say the least. Like he does tree shots, wide angle stuff, lots of intimate details, like a single leaf on the sand, and his conservation like ethics that really shown his video works on YouTube are very expressive as well. He's definitely cares about these places, and he really gets distraught like I do when I see in his videos like there's a lot of graffiti because people are at these parks nowadays a lot more than ever. So, but yeah, his work's really incredible, and this finally see it in these in print and on paper is just something else. It's just really it's impressive. How many adjectives can I use?
I mean, for him, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And some
Yeah.
of the photos have stories attached to him too. A lot because he comes up with these really creative titles for a lot of his photos, and the stories kind of tell, kind of like the story, I guess, behind the title and the image, of course. So yeah, it's a very good book.
He really just knows photography. Like he's got it. Like exposure, focus, like composition. He's got it down. Like
Hmm.
he is. I'd say almost like a modern day Ansel Adams, like with his technique and like his focus and like dedication to specific locations that like he consistently returns to.
Hmm. Yeah, he definitely feels like a modern day, I guess, as you said. Like he's definitely following in his footsteps, Ansel's footsteps, and it
Hmm.
definitely just shows in the camera he uses. He did get a digital one recently, but beside the point. Usually he's doing large format film, but yeah, he's just great video work too. Just to go along, it's a very nice, easy pace that really is expresses the mood of just his photographs as well.
Hmm. I think even if he does end up switching to digital, I think he'll still bring that like slowed down approach. Like I don't think he'll end up becoming, a typical landscape photographer. I think he'll
No,
stick to his normal techniques and stuff.
I believe I think he bought a Sony Alpha. I believe it
Mm.
might have
I,
been
I think he got like the 60 megapixel like R4 or something.
Yeah, maybe. I can't
Mm.
remember honestly, but yeah, he
I
might
think he did. Yeah, I watched the videos.
something like that. I believe it was mirrorless, but anyways, yeah, he kind of just mentioned in a video. He's like, "Hey, surprise! I got this digital camera and stuff." And he kind of said the same thing you're saying, where it's like he's gonna not use it like to just kind of run and gun, so to speak. He's gonna be really slowed down like he always has, and just kind of use it on the side. I think to his
Mhm.
his large format work.
Yeah, and I think he'll definitely use that a good amount because that's like a $5,000 camera. So, which quite the investment. But yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, maybe it will be a lot different from his previous stuff.
Yeah, who knows? Do you have his? You said you had his book or
Yeah, yeah,
you?
Between the Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe call me a purist, but like I like as much as it's nice seeing images online. Modern day technology, and I shoot digital, so it's like I'm on a computer, editing and stuff. But like, there's something to appreciate about the tactile feel, of a book, published work or whatever of an artist that you admire. And so it's like I've been watching a lot of these guys' YouTube channels and just being a big appreciator of the work. But like the minute I saw their work on paper, honestly, it smells good. New book smell. But yeah, well, can you blame me? Anyways,
No, I
um,
don't.
these do smell good, man, when they're new. But
They really do. Yeah.
a lot of my photo books are used and they smell terrible. But anyways, because they're just old. But anyways, yeah, it's just seeing the work on paper. It's just I don't know how to describe it. It's like you can appreciate better the color, the attention to detail, and how they present. The images, the collection. It's just yeah, it's a different feeling. I don't know from watching in a video or seeing on like an online gallery. So that's why I'm really into just reading and looking at it, studying, analyzing a book like this. So but yeah, his is really good. So
Yeah. Great photographer for sure.
we've talked about him so much on the show, man.
Yeah, we need to have him on.
He sh-
Like
we should get his attention by now. I think.
Ben, if you can hear us, come
Well,
on
he,
the show.
he followed me on Instagram, so maybe I should just DM him.
Yeah, honestly.
2021 goals. Anyways, I'll make that note to myself. Anyway, so what's your next pick,
All right.
Andrew?
Mine is Morton Hilmer. Um, wow. I mean, what can I say about his YouTube videos? Like,
Oh,
insane.
geez.
I'd say best like in the field videos I've ever seen.
Immersive.
Very immersive. Yes.
Hmm.
Just inspirational. Like I love his images. They're great. But it's really just the videos that inspire me. Like his videos just make me want to go out with my like wildlife lens and just like sit in like a forest for like hours. Like I don't know, like the exploration, that sense of exploration that I get from his videos is crazy.
It's funny because like a lot of I know I think his most popular video has I think it's roe deer is what it is, and it's like he has a ghillie suit on, and it's just like it's funny seeing this man play dress up, as most people probably think, and he's going out there with a big camera lens, expensive gear, and he's out there in like the fog of the morning at some like woodland. I believe he's from Scotland, Ireland, England,
Denmark, I think.
Denmark. That's right. Sorry. Ooh.
Hmm.
Anyways, I do watch his work, believe it or not. But anyways, so yeah, but it's just like neat to see that because most people probably think like, what the heck is this guy doing? Is he hunting? I mean, like, what is he doing? And it's just like the videos are just so easy, not easygoing, but just very I don't know what you call it, relaxed. Because it's like they're really
Hmm.
long form videos. They're like 30, 40 minutes. And but like the sound design, the engineering of it, it's just really like calmly intense. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but like it's just like
I yeah,
interesting, captivating.
I haven't found really anybody else that can like replicate his style. Like
Oh
it's
no, no.
I
He
don't know.
does he's on a whole and it's like not putting down anyone else, any other contemporaries, but like his videos have like such a weird, but like a different, unique style to him. And
Yeah,
I don't know
you
what
re-
else to say, like how to describe it.
you really don't see that with a lot of like wildlife photographers. It's mostly landscapes that tend to like vlog a lot. Um,
Yeah,
he's
I've
not even vlogging, but it's just more like cinematic stuff. But
it's like a cinematic vlog.
mm,
Because he
yeah,
does talk to the camera in a lot of them. A lot of them, there's a couple of them where he just I don't think there's no speech. There's no speech, so it's just like sounds and the noise of the woods and him stoking a fire and bushcraft and other cool stuff.
Drinking from his like coffee cup.
Oh yeah, the mug, man, the thermos.
Yeah.
Every time, every time. But I enjoy it. I appreciate the little things
Yeah.
in design like that. But he's cool. He's just intensely
He's
good.
also very like very good like at creating things. Like I watched a video recently where he actually handcrafted a sled that he could put his big like telephoto lens on, so he could like drag it across the forest floor to get like a slightly better angle. Like
I've seen
it's
that.
crazy what this guy can do. Like
Yeah.
he's like the ultimate like photographer survivor. Like
hmm Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh.
mm. And have you seen his videos where he goes in like the blind that can like float on the water?
Yeah, I've seen that. People make those themselves, but I think there's even store bought ones, I believe, too.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
something else.
super cool.
Only him, only Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy though. So great,
Uh-huh.
great photographs too. If we haven't
For
mentioned it
sure.
already, he's really talented and knowing his like wildlife subjects and just the landscape he roams in. So yeah,
And
he's very.
he's really a great filmmaker too. Like the wildlife footage he gets is
Oh yeah.
very
Oh
good.
man, and he's very just like a charismatic personality. Like he's just very like fun. You can tell he really enjoys getting out there and doing that because I believe he does that full time. If I'm correct, which is
Hmm.
really cool. It's
Yeah.
really impressive. Yeah, but yeah, he's one of the greats as well. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have another. This is a bit of an older example, but Elliot Porter. I don't believe he's alive anymore. Is he?
I've never heard of him, but I can check real quick.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, maybe I should research my guys. These like photographers before.
Yeah, he died in the 90s.
Oh, did he? Okay, I wasn't sure. I knew it was like 20th century, but yeah. Anyways, I have this. I actually, in all honesty, I don't know his work like really well, like inside out. But like, I do have this photo book I bought because it was just well. First off, it's titled "Intimate Landscapes" and it has like a beautiful photograph in the front. And it was just like a no brainer. I saw it for a few dollars, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get this. And it looks like it's pretty old. I'd actually, without checking, I don't know the year of it, but yeah, his work is as the name suggests, in this book, he's his most of his body of work actually, not just this his book here, but like a lot of it's just simple, intimate landscapes. Lots of, I think he thrives the most in abstracts.
Uh,
Just like lots of patterns, textures. All these like shots are just plates, like film plates, and they're taken like in the 50s and 60s. I'm seeing primarily, but like they're just like lots of trees, lots of like patterns, textures, as I
yeah,
said, lots of color.
like frame filling shapes, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of stuff that that I aspire to do a lot of the time. When I'm not taking like a postcard worthy waterfall or a bird shot. Like I love doing the weird stuff like this. The weird like the stuff that people when they view my work might be like, I didn't think about that. And I'm like, yeah, boys, I don't know. You just have to see it, I guess. You have to look. You have to look for like things like this, I guess, out in nature and
Mhm.
outdoors. So yeah,
I'm
he's.
looking at one of his shots right now. It's like a birch tree with like a bird like flying like parallel right across it.
Hmm.
Um, like I'm thinking like back, he if he was shooting that on film, like the amount of work that probably went into that, he probably had to do like a flash and like time it and everything. Like
Oh yeah.
it's crazy.
It makes you wonder how many he took before and after that were like failures. But like that one,
It was probably expensive. Yeah.
oh yes.
Uh,
But as far as I know, he's probably one of the biggest names I think in the 20th century. Like he knew Alfred Stieglitz, Georgia O'Keeffe, the big names. So they were all kind of like friends, which is pretty cool. But
yeah.
his work is just very, like I said, I think he's primarily known for his more intimate stuff and the abstracts, like I said. But like most landscape photographers, he also dabbles in like the grand vistas or just stuff that's much more realized and wider angle, I guess. But yeah, his work, like this book, made me a fan of him, a fan of his like instantly. Because I just really, this is one photographer where like I really identified with his work. Not so much that I'm saying I'm like going to copy him, but just like I'm like, yeah, this is stuff like kind of like what I want to take, or I already was honestly, but without even realizing it. So yeah, he's very very good.
Yeah, I never heard of him, but he's already one of my favorites. Like,
Yeah, I
wow.
know. Isn't it like weird like that? Like it's just I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but yeah, I'm just like this is like the stuff I like to take probably the most. Just the weird like artsy,
Mhm.
like just random. Like it almost
Yeah.
doesn't even look like a photograph kind of
Like
art, you know.
this like is nature photography, really. Like,
You heard it here, folks. Yeah, no, he's great though. Elliot Porter, Intimate Landscapes, highly recommend it. He probably has more books. I'm going to assume probably a lot more, but that one in particular, it's only one I own. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. Favorite photo books in general.
I'd love to hang one of his photos on my wall.
Oh man,
Yeah.
maybe if you can get original for
I don't know
reproduction.
about that. Yeah.
I don't know the value. I don't really study the art market in that regard. You know prices, but
Mhm.
it's probably intense, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other examples?
That's pretty much it for me. One quick mention is this is probably another cliche one, but I'm kind of inspired by like Van Gogh, some of
Oh
the
yeah,
landscapes that he's done.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Starry Night, of course. There's another one I can't remember the name. I'm trying to look it up.
Probably one of my favorite paintings in general is Van Gogh's like his water lilies, like his collection of those, are just
Yeah.
like if there's anything like that's transcends photos and like other art, let's just say, and like I want to replicate that, not so much like I said steal it, but just like be inspired by it. It's like his water lily like paintings are just something it's just like I don't know, it's just otherworldly to me how you can make
Mhm.
the colors and design work out. So that's stuff I'm always looking for in like ponds, stuff that kind of evokes that same vibe.
Yeah.
Gosh, I said vibe, but but yeah, yeah, Van Gogh. Yeah, I just agree with you. Van Gogh is really one of my favorites artists in general.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
yeah, he's very good. Yeah, I mean, like I have a handful of other ones, other photo books. I have a pretty big collection, and we'll link in the show notes. I actually made a video last year about my photo book collection in depth. I got a few new ones since that video has been made, but that has the pretty much the vast majority of all my collection. But yeah, I got a few more, mainly some local names. There's one guy named Ray Mueller, and he's actually from Dayton, Ohio, where I'm at. I've never met him. I've seen his gallery exhibit somewhere in my hometown at a senior center. It's actually where I had my first gallery exhibit too. But he has this one about Allwood Metro Park, which it's pretty famous kind of park property that it was turned over from a couple that used to live there, like way back in the day. But they've unfortunately passed since then, and they were really about like nature and conservation and like flowers and just just beautiful scenic nature, I guess. But he made this like really small photo book about it's called Allwood, where tranquility abounds, and it's just photographs he's taken throughout the seasons at this specific location, which is really neat. So yeah, that's more of a localized one. It's not really like international. And his name, I mean, he's not really the most popular, but he is pretty well known in our area. And he was like an Air Force veteran, I believe, too, or Air Force pilot. That's kind of where he got his career really before photography. So, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. A few other names. I guess I'll just rattle off some names. Thomas Mangelson. He's a very well known guy, wildlife photographer, and he does all kinds of stuff. I think, especially in Alaska. And I have a book from him called Images of Nature. That's just basically a big retrospective of his entire body of work, and it's very impressive. Just the amount of attention to detail he puts in the wildlife and some landscapes on the site too. So he's very good. Art Wolf, he's another one that probably the earliest of my early days. I was really inspired by Art Wolf. I still am now, of course. I still follow him when he does nowadays. But he was just such a big inspiration, almost to the point of trying to copy him. If I'm being honest, just early on at least, just because it was a few years ago and I was younger, so and I was eager to learn and stuff like that. But yeah, he's on another level, and I'd almost call him a master photographer as well. Not to be hyperbolic, but yeah, he's really up there as well. Back to street photography, William Eggleston. He takes or he did take. Actually, he's still alive. Actually, I believe. He pioneered the use of color film back when it, was released really, and he did a lot of street photography, just everyday scenes and stuff that's very. It looks really innocent and kind of, dare I say, bland, but like his shots for some reason just kind of work. Like for some reason, like it's,
Cool.
be it the color or composition. Like looking at them, it's like you don't see much, but like it's still cool. I don't know. It's really strange.
What's
You have to look up his work just to see it.
what's his name again?
It's William Eggleston. So yeah,
Okay.
which I mean, we can link these down, I guess, in the description if anyone's curious. These names and stuff. But yeah, his work is very. It's just fascinating to see it because it's, he just photographs everyday life for people, and it is like street photography in a lot of sense. But it's just neat stuff. I don't know. He makes you think twice about the everyday that we all pass by. So he's not really nature photography at all, but like he's definitely a big influence, or at least he has been on my work and just how I see things in general.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Ralph, two more here. Axel Bonson. He's actually a new one. I just found out like a week ago. And he was in the 20th century a well-known photographer because he photographed a lot in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which I'm a big fan of, and one of my galleries is there as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing a photo book from him come to my house soon, and we'll see how his photographs look. But they look really impressive. Just once again, it's kind of street stuff. It's really everyday life, but he took a lot of nature shots as well, in the surrounding like state parks. And then Eleanor Mosman, she is basically a travel photographer. She does like lots of just cultural photography, particularly out in Tibet and other like East Asian and West Asian countries. So she's traveled a lot over the world, and she actually currently resides here in Ohio. I've not met her yet, but she is a part of one of the gallery co-ops I'm at, and I hope to meet her someday because that'd be really cool. And she's done a TED Talk, so she's kind of a big deal if you ask
Oh
me.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, her work's pretty cool, but it's definitely on. It much more skirts like the travel kind of genre, I guess, with some nature and scenics, kind of included there for the environment. So, but yeah, that's just a handful of inspirations. I got plenty more, but I feel like I've said enough now for this episode.
Yeah. I mean, if you have any others, don't be afraid to. I mean,
Yeah, there's so much, and just artists in general too. So lots of stuff out there.
I'm still obsessed with the Elliot Porter. Thank you for introducing me to it.
Oh,
Man,
no problem. Yeah, yeah. His work, it makes you look twice, and for good reason. So he's on another level, if you ask me.
yeah, like, wow.
Yeah, so he's really
Um,
impressive.
yeah. So I'm looking at prints. They're like $6,000.
Better start saving up.
Uh-huh. The funny thing, the website that I'm actually looking at that sells them is called Doyle. So maybe
Oh
I can
man,
maybe I can make a claim to like the website.
copyright and get like an infringement or a suit.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
H Doyle Photos sues Doyle.com.
receives all royalties for photo prints.
Steals all photo prints.
Get 6,000 in damages in liquidation. That's great. Oh my gosh. Anyways, do you have any updates or announcements?
I have begun work on my website that I've been talking
Ooh,
about for way too long.
okay.
Uh, I that'll be up soon. I'm not going to say a date because I'm not going to make any promises, but it'll be up soon. I am now back to my 2 videos a week.
Cool.
So I released one on Saturday, and when this podcast comes out, there will be one the day after, so Wednesday. Um,
Cool.
I've been enjoying getting back into that. Um, so yeah, what about
Awesome.
you?
Um, Not too much. Starting a video project soon, like I've been mentioning here and there. Purchased my 2021 calendar. I guess I'll plug that. That's still for sale, of course. They're about $20. I may actually put on like a little sale and like bump it down to maybe 15 or even 10. I might do something like that, and see how that goes. If people are still interested. But a couple of people have bought calendars so far, so I really appreciate that and the support. Because it does mean a lot. No matter how little you spend, it's like it means the world to me that you would buy something that has my name on it in photos, of course. So, but yeah, other than that, I guess podcast related. I don't know about you, Henry, but I'm thinking we might have a guest next week. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I think it's time for another guest. I got a
For
few
sure.
lined up. I wanna get on the show, so that'd be really fun.
Hmm.
But we can't say names yet. But some are bigger names, some are smaller names, or just friends of ours.
We are having Ansel Adams on the podcast.
Elliot Porter.
Yes.
Oh man, that'd be funny. That'd be interesting.
Uh,
That's kind of morbid. I'm sorry. That was kind of. Why is that funny?
I don't know.
Dude, no, honestly, like, can you imagine Ansel nowadays? That'd be something else. It's funny because he's on Instagram, technically.
Uh, I don't think he'd go on our podcast first. I'm sure he'd go on someone like the Northrops or something. I don't know.
What? I don't know about that, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, yeah. On a serious note, yeah, we'll have some guests coming up here soon for probably a couple episodes. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited and looking forward to it overall.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the video version on YouTube as well. You can subscribe down below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.